think what I would like to do as we go through this journey is also explain beyond being a guinea pig for my people, men and women in my age group, okay? I need to say this personally, that this is a personal journey. Yeah. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for my audience on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. I'm not doing it for anybody but me. And I think my secondary category is my children. I need to be here, and I need to be present, and I need to be well. And anything that gives me an edge, I will take. Mm-hmm. But as I was doing my journal, and you notice I have it, so even when I'm sitting there doing my bowel irrigation, is that what it's called? I will be journaling. When I was doing my journal last night before I came here, I did say this to myself. Caroline, the journey forward is shorter than the journey already lived. And I do not want to spend the next 20, 30 years of my life going in and out of hospitals because I couldn't control one thing: my body weight.
Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Uturi Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. I am on set with Omondi Ochuka, the man with the knowledge and the experience. You're writing thesis about health. What?
Primary health care and the cost
Primary
of cancer care.
And the cost
of cancer care.
And cancer care. Today we are going to be talking something interesting. The New York Times carried out a story that was talking about essentially women that have been in the plus community and have been very, very vocal about and have amassed a very huge following. You know?
No, global actually, yeah.
You know, so some are having 300,000 followers, some are having, 1 million followers. So it's a very difficult area to talk about, but the thing is, a plus-size woman decides to go online and collects a community of plus-size women, and telling them how to love their bodies, how not to let anybody fat shame them or do anything to them. Then the interesting thing is that at some point, these plus-size ladies amass so much following and a lot of clout that fashion design houses
had to bring them in.
Yes, started giving them money to talk about their plus-size, garments, and they started having a lot of money, and a lot of they could afford anything. Then they realized that actually this weight thing is not working for me. As a matter of fact, one lady, when she was hounded by the New York Times, a journalist hounded her down and asked her. So, but let me track back a little bit. This lady went and did a procedure, and her weight just fell drastically. And now what was happening is that the online community were wondering, why are you not talking about what you did to yourself? Because you've always told us that there is nothing wrong with being fat. There is nothing wrong with having, now you're
jumping ship.
Now you're jumping ship.
Yes.
So the New York Times picked this story and started following them up. And this lady was teary and said that I can't wipe my ass. Am I going to live like this for how long? But now the question that the online community were asking was, then you knew the weight was a problem all along. Why were you telling us that we should not be worried about it? That we should go ahead, eat all these fatty things and be fat and be happy with ourselves without anything. And now that you have money, because these procedures are very expensive in the United States, and they're not usually taken care of by the insurance, right?
No.
They were able to afford it, and now they're losing weight. The interesting thing is that they were not telling the community what they had done. And so people are seeing them reducing weight and talking about other life issues and not talking about their bodies anymore. Which is interesting. And then we come back to Nairobi, Kenya, and we have a lot of... one of the women that have really liked her body, to be honest with you, is Caroline Mutoko.
Oh, she's had amazing
I don't think Caroline Mutoko has been fat or or overweight.
Slim,
she has just been
she's been
looking
herself. Yeah.
amazing. And the other day I saw Caroline Mutoko on social media, and I was shocked. She's now very petite, very thin, and she, for lack of a better word, looked very sickly. You know, if you're looking at somebody when they have got a very good body and suddenly they have reduced so much, you feel like they're not healthy anymore.
Is their body not good anymore?
Yeah, that's what it
That's the
feels
feeling
like.
like,
It's what it feels like. So the issue of health and weight loss in Kenya has been a lot of women are going for this thing. So if you look at there is one company that is doing a lot of this. So what women are doing is that they are doing gastric balloon, right? And then there is Allurion balloon. Then there is the gastric bypass, and then there are a couple of others.
There
is
pills,
gastric sleeve. There is
sleeving.
psychotherapy of eating habits, the bowel irrigation, and just a whole lot of things that they are doing. The funny thing is that these things are very expensive.
Yeah, it is. It is in a way cutting corners, because one thing, let's go back a little bit. Weight has 4 aspects that we need to consider. Weight is at the center of many diseases, including cancer, diabetes, heart diseases.
Yeah.
Very many. In fact, that's one of the reasons why they look at BMI, the relationship between your height and your weight, and generally your structure, the structure of your body. So we can't just read it off that, oh, just live whatever life you want to live. It's going to affect you at some point. That's number 1. Number 2, weight is at the center of body politics.
What do you mean by body politics?
And this is where we come to the very sensitive thorn of it.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, we have known that the body of an ideal man is tall, dark, and handsome. They build, they're good, they have abs, they have very good cheek lines, tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah.
On the other side of the woman, ni chupa ya Coca-Cola. Dark Coca-Cola. Dark and round and well proportioned.
A bit of ass.
Yeah, a bit of an ass. Nice titties.
Yeah.
Skin looking smooth. She's glowing. That's the ideal, and it's been presented by mostly the Americana world.
Yeah.
And of course with the uprise of beauty pageantry and all that. And then number 3, we come to how food represents so many things. Food represents where we were brought up. Like I grew up eating a lot of vegetables, traditional vegetables. I still love, that's my favorite food because I grew up loving it. There are people who grew up eating githeri for the whole week. It was the thing. So they grew up with a lot of hate with it. They can't eat it anymore. Understand? So there's a cultural background to it. Also, we eat emotionally. People eat when they're stressed. People eat because I missed this when I was young. I couldn't afford it, but now I can afford it. People eat when they feel low. People eat when they're happy. You understand? And then the 4th one comes to how do you manage weight in a world that has moved so far ahead in terms of nutrition? The things that we used to eat back in the 90s is not the same ones. We eat back in the 90s, there was probably a few chips places in Kisumu, but now there's plenty. Every corner you turn, there's a chips place. There's a fast food joint. So things have really changed. The food that is presented or prompted as organic is no longer organic anymore. So if you put all these factors together, we come to what is actually weight. Why is weight such a thorny issue? Because it taps into the insecurity of who we are. Remember, there's also genetics. You were born as Jagero. You probably look like your dad. He was big and a bully. Like he comes to a room, notice him.
There's a photo in Mombasa where they say...
Yeah, you told me about the photo. Your sister was telling you you look like him. I look like my grandfather typically. Yeah. You see him, you see me, you see him. So there are very many things that we can't change about ourselves. And yet they trigger so much deep insecurity about ourselves. And then also comes into how we relate with each other. I might be very slim, but I might tell you look very fat. You need to lose weight. But when you tell me the same thing, I might feel offended that you might feel offended because I'm calling you fat. When you tell me you look so thin. Why don't you eat more? I don't feel offended because it's not the game that has been there for a long century. for a long time we've been shaming, in quotes, people who are fat, and this has been the norm because we feel like if you are extra fat, first of all, there's a direct danger to your health. Rarely do we see that with slightly slim or petite people, you know. So I think the issue is it taps into our deep insecurities, and then also too, most of it I see it with women. Because women folk are easily able to transact emotionally. Like, I feel, nimeongeza ka weight, kale ka dress kangu, it no longer fits. Unlike us men, sisi will just say, bro, unakula mzuri aje. And that it ends there. So for men, and then also women, when they're dating or dating the opposite gender, there's usually that card being played. Oh, you need to lose weight. You need to look nice. I bought you a dress, but it's not fitting you the way I want it to fit you. So you see the gender politics. That's why I was calling it a politics. It's a politics of relationships. It's a politics of how we view ourselves first internally, and then how we approach the world with this internal view. Yeah.
And then I think that the hospitals have taken
advantage of
a very, very serious advantage of our bodies. And they are telling you about the people that they have helped.
Testimonials.
Reduce weight.
Yes.
Yeah. So you see they're talking about, I think they're talking about Mutoko. Mutoko, for people who are not in Kenya, has been a veteran. Do you call a woman a veteran?
Yes. It's
It's
a neutral word.
Yeah, it's a neutral word. So they're talking about women that have gone for this.
Did they give a consent for them?
I believe so. I think some of the people that they are putting on social media are those people that. So they are talking about David Kamingi, who was 121 kilograms, but now he's 73. I think that is a drastic, very, very drastic.
I was reading reports, and they're saying it actually does between 105 to 115%. The only issue is once you have lost that weight, maintaining that weight loss
is very, very difficult because at some point they remove it. Yes. So there is this lady before gastric balloon. They are saying that Tracy Nduwati was 6 months after gastric balloon has reduced from 24 kg. You see, and then there are others. They have Caroline Mutoko. They have very, very many other people that they have helped do this. But the question is that they are doing all these to people, and these people are online. You know, I think it is the pressure.
It's a very strategic move, I think.
There is a name they call that kind of surgery.
Bariatric surgery.
Yeah, yes. But
gastric bypass.
Yeah, but the amount of time it takes, non-invasive. It's non-invasive.
It's non-invasive because there's no active surgery.
There is no active.
For the balloon, there's no active surgery cut on it.
So, for example, these things, I'm told they take about 45 minutes to do. But the gastric balloon, which is the gastric balloon, is a non-surgical procedure utilizing intragastric balloons to create fullness. So, basically, they just help you swallow a balloon.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah,
and for helping you swallow a balloon, and the lady that I was talking with told me that it took basically 45 minutes for them to do that. And then they charge you 350,000 Kenyan shillings.
Yeah.
That is about how much dollars? That's about $3,000. $3,000. And then the Allurion balloon is $475,000, another $4,000. And then gastric bypass, is a lot. This is $7,000 to $8,000.
More, is it hitting 1 million? It's crazy.
Almost hitting 1 million. And then we have the gastric sleeve, which is about 850,000. Psychotherapy of eating habits, like just giving you psychotherapy, you pay 42,000. And then there is the bowel irrigation that they do. It's a 2 to 3 hour in-house procedure. So it's a detox solution, anti-inflammatory detox solution. They're not giving you anything. They're just giving you one dose of probiotic, and they're charging 10,000 for it. So what I don't know is that I've not really read about how the young people are influenced to probably because so for example, take for example that you are overweight as a young girl, and you can't afford the 350,000.
Most people can't. In fact, nearly 85% of people who are struggling with weight loss cannot afford that,
But now, do you know other ways of how people? Because, for example, myself, I I struggled with weight. I've struggled with weight. I still struggle with weight up to now. You know, as a matter of fact, eating has been a very big pain point for me. You're wondering what is it that you're going to eat that is going to make sure that you reduce weight.
I was vigilant around food you're eating.
Yeah, I am, and I'm always feeling very guilty about eating cakes. I am feeling,
and yet you love cakes so much.
Yes, feeling very guilty about eating ugali. And, you know, food for me is not giving me the happiness that it used to give me. If you understand what I mean, it's not giving me that kind of happiness. Like every time I have to struggle with the portioning, how much is enough, and then what I realize is that there is a time I really dropped weight. And then I started gaining it. And then I was wondering, I'm not eating more. So what is going on?
What is going on?
And I realized that actually my body has gone ahead and understood that, okay,
this is how you want it.
This is what you're giving us.
Let's go, yeah.
Yeah, let's get used to it and start doing it.
So when you have this range of products that you need to eat but can't, obviously it tricks your metabolism inside. It's like feel like, so this is how we are supposed to do it from here onwards. And then if you introduce a new schedule of eating, it changes your body. So that creates a certain inconsistency within you. And that's why sometimes you might find yourself adding weight abnormally. You didn't see it coming, it just pops up. But generally for me, I've not had a problem with weight, except during days when I'm completely too sick. That's when I reduce a lot of weight, but gaining, not so much.
Yes, there is that people who are likely to add weight very, very fast.
There's that, yes.
Yeah, and that group of people is also there. That they are naturally, their genetics is basically responding very well to food. Once they eat something, they balloon very, very fast. But I've also realized that majority of us, we just add weight because we are eating. Because, for example, you wake up in the morning and you take 4 slices of bread and butter and tea, you know, and then add a sausage on top of it. You go to the office,
sit on your desk,
10, and you want to take tea and chapati, and then at lunchtime, mnateremka hapo chini, you take rice and meat. You see, and then at lunchtime there is another cake and another tea, and you're taking that, or snacking around. And then in the evening, there is ugali.
No, before even ugali, you bite something because you came back very hungry.
You bite something.
Yes, yes.
And you eat that. And then if you trace back your life throughout the day, you realize that this is somebody that is driving. This is somebody that is sitting at their desk, and look at the volume of starch and the volume of food that you're
pumped
eating
into the body, yes. We grew up and we knew that you wake up in the morning and you're supposed to have tea.
Yeah.
So there's a certain clock that the mind, even your body, has internalized. And I think then again also availability of food. Food is literally almost everywhere sometimes.
Yeah.
And if it's not there, it's also the proportion that we have. Like some people have only an exposure to a certain kind of food. Outside of that, there's nothing else. And most of the time we find carbohydrates is mostly available. And carbohydrates is at the center of weight loss and weight gain.
Yeah.
You understand? And I think that goes to the deeper end of our insecurities.
Why is carbohydrate such a difficult thing?
Because of how the body processes it.
How so? How does it process it?
Ideally, the body is supposed to break down carbohydrates into sucrose so that it goes to other different parts of the body. Then, of course, there's calories for you to gain the energy to do your stuff, to move for activities in the body. And then there's the one that is converted to the fatty acids that's supposed to stay within the muscles or within the tissues. So I think that is a problem of how, if you give, for example, if you feed, if you lift a weight, if you are a weightlifter and it's your first time in the gym and you take 50 kg both sides, you're gonna crumble. It's gonna affect you. It's the same thing with the body. You are supposed to measure. You're supposed to have a certain grace with your body, so that you're supposed to not give it too much and also not too little. But this is the problem. How do we do that? because it can also create a problem of hypervigilance, where you're always so conscious about.
That is me.
Yeah, I'm about to eat two teaspoons of carbohydrates, or this kind of a kilo carbohydrates. So that, I think we are supposed to just be mindful in terms of our own self-discipline. And I think the problem is usually how do you attain that discipline, so that when it gets to a certain point, you don't need to drive it anymore. It happens on its own. I think the struggle most people have is when you're creating that discipline. It's so hard because you're coming from a place. You used to be able to eat anything. And there was no so much struggle that you used to experience in your body or with your health. But now you're cautious because every other corner you turn, you need to be making a very informed decision of, this is the amount I need to have and this is how much I need to have. You understand? So creating that discipline is what is very difficult for a lot of people. And then also our lifestyle. Most of the time we don't have any time to do physical activity, walk or go for a swim. Even for you, if you go for a swim, there's always a cap to it because you can't do it due to your health. Most people don't take a walk. It's usually you go to the office, you sit for long hours, 8 hours. There's very little activity. You go back to your car, drive back home, come back, eat. You have very little time in between even for food to settle within your stomach. You eat, drink water, go to the bed. So there's very little metabolism that is happening between your body that can break this food so that it can do whatever it was meant to do. Yeah.
So I wonder whether this kind of procedures have got any side effect at all.
Of course they do.
What do you think would be the side effect of this kind of things?
Let's just start with the balloon. Mm-hmm. You said earlier when you're starting, you asked me if it's a shortcut.
Yes.
I said it is a shortcut. Because the way, I don't know, you are a believer, I might not be, but we both agree that the body is an intelligent design.
Yes.
It was built to achieve or perform certain roles optimally. So the way the shape of the stomach, the size of the stomach, it's built optimally. You understand? So if you introduce a foreign object of the silicone balloon in it, it's going to create an illusion that you are full. Yeah. It's going to create an illusion that maybe if I eat, like let's say at table 3 serving spoon, then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But then again, when we started, also I told you that the weight loss drastically happens within the 6 months, because usually between the 4th and the 6th month they remove the balloon, and after that people struggle with maintaining that weight loss. Why? Because it's psychological. At the end of the day, eating is very psychological, and that's why they're even charging people for psychotherapy.
Yeah,
you understand. There's a lot of eating disorders from is it bulimia or what, to anorexia and all that kind of disorders. People who eat very little and they don't like food at all. You have to literally force them to eat, and the people who want to eat all the time. You understand?
BA.
Yeah. Kata BA BA is very bad, and sometimes it's a better. Yeah. So I think in terms of how people eat, it goes back to your mindset, whatever it is you have built on before. So when you do this procedure and then remove yourself from that procedure, and you didn't go through counseling and therapy, you didn't understand why
do they think that they're going for counseling and therapy?
Because it first of all, whatever changes how you are. Remember, like for example, remember one time you asked me, how does hair loss affect you as a person when you go through cancer treatment?
Yes. Because
hair is an identity. You look yourself in the mirror and you say, this is Ochuka. I used to have an afro. When I don't have it, you feel like that's not who you are. You look at yourself, and this is happening a lot amongst the women folk. You look at yourself and you're like, nah, this is too much. So you feel like that's not who you are, or the idealized person you have in your head. And then that's number one. Number two, there's a fantasy you have. You want to look like your friend. You want to look like maybe a model or somebody you look forward to, or you want to look like Caroline Mutoko, for example. So if that is not achieved enough, then you start feeling low. Why? Because you have not achieved it. This idealist person that you have in your head. And this goes back to you, who you are in your mental state. And that's why people need therapy. And also people need therapy to stick to a certain discipline. Remember, there are people who go, like I told you about my uncle who was told, don't eat meat anymore because it's going to kill you. He said, Dr. You wonder you are lying to me. I'm going to be eating this. Of course, he has not died to date, but it affects him because he has diabetes and he has gout. These are two very sensitive diseases that can actually be managed well by what you eat, nutrition alone, even before you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So achieving that discipline is what is difficult for a lot of people, and that needs psychotherapy support.
You have been, you have had a lot of discipline to contend with around your illness, right? The mental capacity, the mental strength. What are some of the lessons that you've learned in as far as that is concerned? What are some of the things that you've picked that this is how you want to go around life? This is your thinking towards life when you want to deal with a particular issue. Now, I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their own country, in their local area. Now, the truth is there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs, and those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans. Okay, because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. Just need to go to the description, click on the link, and you can buy this book. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book, and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online, and I've been traveling, and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and now back to programming. According to Google, they are basically non-surgical, but they still carry a lot of side effects and risk. The common side effects is nausea. You can have a lot of nausea and vomiting, very common in the first few days as your body adjusts to the device. That in the device here is the balloon, and then abdominal pain and cramping. My friend was really complaining about cramping and pain.
It's bad.
The discomfort usually fades with time, and then there is the other one that can linger for some time. Acid reflux.
Vomiting, acid reflux.
Yeah, the balloon may worsen existing acid reflux or cause it to develop, And then there is a serious one that can really even kill you, and that is the gastric or intestinal obstruction. The balloon can deflate and create a blockage in the digestive system, which can be very dangerous. The other problem that can happen is the gastric perforation. Gastric perforation, this is in very rare cases, but if it is happening, then it is happening. The balloon can cause a hole in the stomach wall, leading
the ulcers,
to severe infection. It can also lead to pancreatitis. Yeah, that is inflammation of the pancreas. It's also a very rare occurrence, but they all work. But anyway, we were talking, and I was asking you how you deal with you have that mental capacity to deal with things around weight loss, weight gain, and things like that.
Facing off against annihilation has a way of forcing you to rebrand the way you walk through the world.
Yeah.
Consciously, I couldn't always reconcile the fact that I needed to become more reckless, hedonistic, and self-preserving in the face of cancer trying to take me early. To balance those unsavory impulses, I believe I molded myself into a model I believe could help me achieve an optimal value of who I am. I may have fantasized about completely giving up to the frivolous demands of life or fatal, suicidal ideations, given my truncated life expectancy. But what I manifested outwardly was an almost pure persona as somebody who took self-initiative or personal initiative very seriously. And this ties back to who you are. When you're faced with something, we will be faced with something at some point in life. That's a given.
Yeah.
And the body is a season. My grandma says, "Del di quath."
Yes.
Quath, for those who are listening from other tribes or from all over the world, quath is when you take cows or livestock to feed. Usually we used to do it in the morning around 10 and then come back in the evening. So when you take a cow, it's very empty. You can even see at the side of the stomach, it's very empty and they're thin. When they come back, they're full and happy and jocund.
Yeah.
And when you're milking, you're feeling like you did a very good job. That's the same thing with life. You're sent out, you're born here, you don't have a manual. This is who you are. And then you face a tragedy like illness. And then you face a tragedy like emotional turmoil that sends you back to weight loss. Or you gain so much than you expected. And then you have all these temptations to just let everything just fall apart. But what I've realized from all these years is you are your first doctor, without which the doctor who is treating you will not be able to help you. That's number one. Even when they have actually done their job of like treating or doing a surgery or giving you the pill or telling you to do this and this through therapy, ultimately you come back to who you are. And then you have to decide, what personal agency do I have as a person? Because if you continue in the path, remember I said it forces you to rebrand the way you walk through the world. If you do not rebrand, it's the same thing with business. If DWJ didn't rebrand and say, this is our objective, this is what I want to achieve within this year, you wouldn't be where you are now. You wouldn't even be having this conversation at the very start. So if you don't rebrand yourself and look, what do I want to achieve with what I'm facing? Is it illness? Is it weight loss? What changes do I need to have? And these changes are never easy. They don't come easy at all. Remember, I could drink alcohol when I felt like I'm too done with this. But you remember now, okay, I've taken alcohol. I'm adding another problem altogether. Remember, most of the time I can't even afford to take myself to the hospital. I'm adding addiction to the mix. And addiction is one of the illnesses that is very hard to cure because it borders spiritual. And spiritual illness is not very easy to do so. So I think it goes back to you taking personal agency as a person and doing a self-audit. And this requires honesty. You need to be radical, but you also need to be gentle. Why do I say so? The reason why I say you need to be radical is you need to be very honest with who you are and what you want to achieve with whatever you're facing, whether it is weight loss or an illness. The reason why I say you need to be gentle is because things don't always work. Even when you put all these measures in place, it does not guarantee that you will achieve whatever you needed to achieve. Remember, you could lose weight today, and in 5 months, you ballooned back again. And that has happened with me. That is what being back and forth with cancer. At one point, you're good. There's no pain. You're living your life. You're doing the things you love. And then suddenly you're back in the hospital. So the back and forth is actually the nature of life because life is never constant. It's very transient. It changes over and over again. That is what you need to put in your head. Now, these things do change. Even when you put things in place, it does not guarantee that you will be good. And sometimes that's just the way life is. Yeah, so your acceptance of the way life is should also reflect in terms of your adaptability. When you need to adapt and when you need to really accept the things the way they are. Understand? And then also I think sometimes also comparing yourself with a journey. When you see Caroline Mutoko has done something and it has successfully helped them achieve whatever objective they had with their body or their weight, it doesn't mean that it will work for you. And that's why you really need to find somebody or a doctor or a therapist who can actually customize or tailor make. And this is one of the issues that we've had a problem, me and you together, our Kenyan healthcare system. It is rarely tailor-made. It's mostly blanketed. You pick a group of people and you think that if I give them this kind of a treatment, then it will work for all of them. That's never the case. And sometimes I think that goes to the cost, because for you to find specialized care or treatment, you need to really have money. And that is not very easy for a lot of people.
And then the other question I wanted to ask you, because I see a lot of these procedures happening.
So most of these hospitals, I think, are actually taking advantage of people and their insecurities, and that's not a very good thing. It's unethical. It's inhumane. I think they need to really check. They really need to check, and that's why I was telling you, they really need to check to tailor make what would work for this particular person and what would not work for another person. Yeah.
According to Google, they're saying that the medical history review has to be very thorough. The doctor must meticulously analyze your medical history, including current medication, previous surgeries, and existing medical conditions. They must also talk with you about weight loss goals. They must discuss your weight loss goals and whether the gastric balloon is the
will help you achieve that
solution for you. And they must also look at the risk and the benefits. The doctor will explain the potential risk, benefits, and side effects of the procedure. And then there is the procedure explanation. There is the physical examination, which is very important. The doctor must conduct a general physical exam to check your vital signs and ensure you are good overall, health-wise. They must do an abdominal examination. They must specifically examine your abdomen to look for any signs of tenderness or abnormalities.
Inflammation.
I'm not sure if they are doing these things. Then they must do endoscopy.
Endoscopy, yes.
You know, to examine your esophagus, stomach, and the upper part of the small intestine. This helps rule out conditions like ulcers or inflammation. They must do blood test. And why do they need to do blood test? Blood work may be ordered to check for underlying health conditions to ensure you are fit for the procedure. And other tests, additional tests, e.g. EKG, electrocardiogram, or chest X-ray might be required depending on your age and health history. You know, there are things like, I don't know if they do these things, you know. So I'm just hoping that it is working for people very well. But I think that the most important thing is for people to be very, very careful about these things, because at the end of the day, you might be doing yourself harm more than
anticipated.
More than good. So it's been a beautiful discussion. You know, if you want to go and do gastric, you want to go and swallow balloon, for sure you can go and swallow.
That's a very bad. Do you remember back in the village, if a cow swallows a balloon, they would die, they would thin up and die.
Was it really a balloon, ama it was
plastic, polythene, a balloon?
Yeah. Would they die really?
They would die, because the way their stomach system is designed, it can't pass through. So at some point, it causes what is called gastric obstruction.
The one that we were talking about.
Yes, and it's very lethal. So you see it thinning and thinning because the food is not being processed, and then it starts getting sick, and then infections come in. So please do due diligence and then ensure that you can do all these procedures so that they are safe for you, so that you achieve. And then also weight loss is very different. I needed to add this, sorry. You know, like just when you go to a gym, many people think that if you go to a gym, you want to lose weight. Maybe you want to tone. Maybe you want to get a good figure. Maybe you want to the cardio health. So there are so many things you might want to achieve. Please check with your doctor if these are things that they can be able to help you with, and do due diligence. Do this test so that you don't damage further your health the way it is.
Yeah. So thank you very much. That was Dialogues with Jagero. We were talking about people swallowing balloons in Kenya and around Africa. And you can leave your comment, by the way, and tell us if you did this procedure, what are some of the problems that you encountered? What happened to you? Was it successful? What are some of the things that you want to say to people that are considering going for this kind of non-invasive procedures in order to take care of their weight? So thank you. Please subscribe to Dialogues with Jagero. Hit on that notification bell. And basically, if you want to come on this podcast and talk to me about anything, I am always happy to listen to your story and have a chat with you. Until another episode, bye for now.